How you doing, everyone? Scott back again. CD and vinyl update time. I kind of planned to do some album rankings, but I've just never got time to do them right now because I need to go through all the music, and I've been getting so much stuff in. I've been listening to all that. So this video is going to be very much quantity and very much quality. One CD and the rest is going to be vinyl. So I'll get the CD out of the way first. I picked up the new Helloween, self-titled, released a few weeks ago. Really enjoyed it. A welcome return of Kai Hansen and Michael Kiske, along with Andy Derris. The one thing, I mean, the songs are fine, but the one thing I really liked was Michael Kiske and Kai Hansen didn't come back and kind of like take over the band. They kind of had that kind of respect for Andy Derris. I mean, Andy Derris has been flying the flag for Helloween ever since they went off and did their own thing. So I'm glad he did the majority of the vocals. I mean, Kai Hansen and Michael Kiske both had their own spots, but Andy Derris is still very much the vocalist, which I thought was like a classy move, really. Some great tracks. The opening track, Out for the Glory, is great. Fear of the Fallen, Mass Pollution is good. Angels is okay. Indestructible, Down in the Dumps, and of course the lead single off the album, Skyfall, which I think is an awesome song, and the artwork is awesome as well. So great addition to the collection. I probably don't hold Helloween as high as other people, so I wasn't really expecting too much from the album. I've always enjoyed every kind of era of Helloween, but Helloween don't really have albums that blow me away. So people would kind of, I mean, I do like the first three. I think they're great albums, but they don't blow me away because I didn't grow up listening to those albums when some of them, they were like staples when they were like 16, 17 years old. So I kind of just take Helloween albums for what they come and as they come. And yeah, really enjoyed it. So maybe 8 out of 10, 7.5, 8 out of 10. Just a good album, solid. So that is Helloween, self-titled. So like I said, the rest is going to be vinyl. I've been watching this on Amazon for a while and it dropped in price, so I jumped on it. Saxon and Battering Ram from 2015. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll maybe know that I kind of struggle with early Saxon. It just doesn't, I mean, it's fine. It doesn't really do a lot for me though. But when I went to listen to their newest release, Thunderbolt, I thought this is amazing. I mean, Saxon, Judas Priest are really bringing the goods when it comes to their more modern stuff. And Iron Maiden should be taking note because they're falling behind when it comes to their modern releases. But this is solid from start to finish. There's the gatefold. I mean, top tracks for me, Battering Ram, the title track's great. The Devil's Footprint, Queen of Hearts, Destroyer, Top of the World, Kingdom of the Cross, and Biff Byford sounds amazing. So that's Saxon and Battering Ram. Just a really great, solid album. I mean, that's me picked up Thunderbolt, obviously their latest release. Battering Ram, which preceded Thunderbolt, Lionheart from 2004. So I'm going to start kind of working my way through that kind of period of Saxon and then maybe kind of work my way back, but we'll see how that goes. So the next haul of vinyl is really from the same place. It's an online shop that I use. I've kind of been keeping my eye on it for the last 6 months or so, and there's been some really amazing stuff coming in metal-wise. Obviously I'm not always in the position to pay some of the prices for some of it, and some of it's gone, but what was left over, I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to pull the trigger on this stuff because I can't let it go. And again, if you've been watching my channel, you'll know last year I rated the new album by Ambush, Infidel, really highly, and I'm not really, before that I wouldn't have said I was a massive new wave of traditional heavy metal fan. I always thought it was kind of quite generic. The production was samey. I've always liked White Wizard, Skullfist, or they're kind of having a bit of a lull now. But Enforcer. But after I listened to Ambush, I just thought, you know what, I need to kind of dig into this subgenre a little more, and found all these bands. And luckily for me, on the online shop, all these were sealed, and they were between £8 and £11. They're all back on black issues or reissues. So the first one is from Eliminator, and it's Last Horizon. Very good album, probably about a 7.5 out of 10. Songs that stand out for me are Procession of Witches, Edge of a Dream, Follow the Seer. In fact, the whole side B is pretty awesome. And I mean, you can't beat that artwork as well. Solid. Inside, picture of the band and lyrics. I don't think the label's anything special, probably just custom label. Like I said, back in black. But great release, glad I picked it up. And I'm kind of getting to that stage now where I am seeing what would attract people to the new wave of traditional heavy metal. And you'd think, being a big metal fan, you would automatically love all that stuff, but there is a massive difference between the 80s stuff, the original stuff, and the newer stuff. And it is mainly production. A lot of it can be templated. Bands just follow this kind of linear template. But I'm really starting to see why people love this stuff. Next one up is Toledo Steel. I'm not sure exactly where they're from, apart from England. Andy Cloud the Milder has mentioned these guys a lot. Mark G with a C's mentioned these guys a lot, and before I just didn't pay any attention, but now I'm paying attention. This is No Quarter. This was released, fucking hell, that is small. When was that released? But I've got amazing eyesight, so it was 2018. I would point out songs to check out, but I would just check out the whole album, because I thought the whole album was pretty killer. I'm really glad I picked up Toledo Steel. So there we go. I think this is their first album. Could be their only album. I didn't really research it that much, but anyway, it's really, really good anyway. So that's Toledo Steel. Next up, Neuron Spoiler and Second Sight. I would say this is one of the weaker ones out of the ones that I picked up. Not saying it's a bad album, but probably just didn't hold my attention as much as the others. What are some good songs on this? Heart of a Lion's really good. Queen of the Darkness is good. I would say Side B is slightly better than Side A, but definitely worth your time. I'm sure this came on a colour variant. Nice blue, which I didn't expect. Another one that's not going to blow your head off, but still really decent album. Neuron Spoiler, Second Sight. And the last one of the kind of new and sealed stuff is Heretic and A Game You Cannot Win. Double album. Comes on this kind of red vinyl. And I would say this is probably the weakest. To be fair, when I got the kind of newer stuff in, I thought this would be my favourite. But this is probably the weakest. It does have elements of thrash, elements of speed metal, traditional metal, kind of harsher vocals mixed with cleaner vocals. But it's just, it didn't really grab my attention. I mean, there were standout tracks, probably were the title track. This World Called Hell, Broken Hero was a good song. Before the Fall, Immaculate Deception is a really good song. But, you know, it's, after I finished, I was like, yeah, it was good, but it wasn't anything really that special. compared to the others that I listen to. So, still a good pickup, but probably not one that I would revisit as much as the others. I think there's only two. I think there's only two members from Heretic. Basically, I mean, trying to explain the story of Heretic. So you had Heretic with Mike Howe. Mike Howe then left to go to Metal Church. David Wayne left Metal Church and then joined the guys from Heretic to form Reverend. I think I explained that pretty well. I think they only brought out one album, maybe in the late 80s, early 90s. Then they split, reformed in 2010, did an album, and then did this in 2017, I think. So they've only done 3 albums in 30 years. But, I mean, it's good. It's just, it's not going to blow you away. So, Heretic, and A Game You Cannot Win. So, we're now on to the kind of 80s used vinyl now. First one is 1987's Screams in the Night by Helloween. It is Screams in the Night. It's got a bit of a dig in the top, and I'll have to get that sticker off at some point, but it's MFN, Music for Nations, number 73. I'll just have to show you all Patrick Swayze. But it's a decent album. It's probably about a 7 out of 10. You do have Anne Boleyn on vocals, so it is female fronted. They've got a really good EP as well that they brought out, I think maybe a couple of years before this. And I'm pretty sure by the time this came out, Anne Boleyn was out of the group. She was quite, but I think she opened her own label and championed Flotsam and Jetsam and Sepultura. She had something to do with those bands. But well worth the pickup. I think they've had more EPs than albums, but this is their first full-length release. Standout tracks would be Screams in the Night, Bad Attitude, Better Off Dead, Put the Hammer Down, and Children of the Night. Pretty solid album. Straightforward, heavy metal. So that's that one. Next up was probably the biggest surprise of the bunch. This was the last one to get put in the basket. I really just saw the cover and I just thought, do you know what, I'll kind of check it out. It was pretty cheap. I'll check it out, see what it's like, and listen to the first couple of tracks, and I thought, do you know what, it's worth putting in the basket, so I'll fire it in. And it is the band Wild Dogs and the album Reign of Terror. I was really surprised at how good this was. Put this on, and it's like it's a mix of like Accept and Judas Priest. So I mean, two bands that aren't going to disappoint. It's kind of got the sound of. It's got the sound of maybe Screaming for Vengeance, that kind of guitar tone, or Defenders of the Faith. It's got that kind of Priest guitar tone on it. But the only name I kind of recognised off this was the drummer Dean Castronova. Who now I can't remember who he's worked with. I think he's done stuff with Ozzy in the 90s, and he's done other stuff as well, but I can't obviously remember now that I'm talking to this camera. Remember what I was even talking about. But it was released in 1987 and well worth a pickup if you can find it. I don't know if it's that common to find, but it's the first time I'd ever seen it, and obviously the cover kind of drew me in a little bit, but well worth it. Even just get a listen to it on YouTube, it's awesome. So Wild Dogs and Reign of Terror, Judas Priest and Accept. If you like those two bands, you'll love that. Next up is also, this is a 10 out of 10 for me, Heir Apparent and One Small Voice from 1989. Absolutely superb album. I would say it's like Queensryche. It sounds a lot like Jeff Tate on vocals with Magnum's kind of Storyteller's Night. It is superb. Honestly, it's like an experience listening to it. If you've got time, you've kind of got to listen to it in one. if you take it song and then kind of doing something and put another song on, you probably wouldn't get the whole effect of the album. But this album is meant to be listened to in a winner. The production on it is flawless. It's honestly, it's a bit of a masterpiece. It's awesome. If you're after like a kind of like a fist pumper album, it's not that. It's more like Operation Mindcrime. It's, you know, it's got like a story to it. It's got layers going on, and they also do the last song on side one, The Sound of Silence. They do a cover of that way before Disturbed even touched it, and it's a really good. It's a really good version of it. It doesn't take away from the album at all, which, you know, most covers are absolute shit, but that's really decent. They do it really well. I mean, it does have its kind of peaks and valleys. It's got like slow songs, like Alone Again's a slow song, Sound of Silence, obviously. The title track is a slow song, so it does have it's a story. You've got to listen to it as one. But it's immense. I would be in the right mood to listen to it as well. But yeah, it's amazing. 10 out of 10. Superb. Heir apparent. One small voice. Really glad to pick that up. Okay, we're nearly there. Exodus and Pleasures of the Flesh. Now, this is the second version I've got of this. I got the first version last year, but it came and it looked like it'd been like just shredded. It'd been used as a skateboard, I think. So it was unplayable. I tried to play it, but I thought it was going to damage my turntable, so I thought the needle was just going to snap. So I mean, it really was that bad. I got that and Impact is Imminent as a kind of deal thing, and they were both just ripped. I mean, I'll keep the covers and see if I can get the actual vinyl, but anyway, Pleasures of the Flesh. This is the first album with Steve Souza, obviously, but that's just like an absolute like killer lineup. And obviously, you know, Gary Holt is an absolute beast. I don't think it's as good as Blinded by Blood, and it's not as good as Fabulous Disaster, but it is still a decent thrash album. I mean, it's definitely worth having in the collection. So I was glad to pick that up, and this was pretty cheap. I think this was about 12 quid, and it's VG plus. So Exodus, Pleasures of the Flesh. Finally happy to replace my shit copy. And the last one, I've kind of been putting off buying this one for a while. It's been on this online shop page for probably about a year. I've just never pulled the trigger on it because it's priced higher than most other records that I buy, so it's always kind of gone to the back of the queue. But I was in a good mood, so I thought I would just finally pull the trigger. Exhumer and Rising from the Sea, their second release from 1980... not 1980. Let's just properly get this right. You're not going to tell me, are you? I don't know. 1987, I'm going to say. I'll say 1987, but it's on Disaster Records. That's upside down. It's on Disaster Records. Decent. I would say the first album is better. I would say their modern stuff is better. This might be one of their weakest ones, but do you know what it is about 80s thrash? Is it's got something about it that's not... It's interesting to listen to. Even if it is thrash, it's still interesting. It's got that 80s feel, it's got atmosphere as well, and cover art is fucking phenomenal. So I was really happy to pick this up. I mean, it's not a bad album. That's not what I'm saying. I just think their other releases are probably better, but it's still amazing to have in the collection. I mean, you don't see Exhumer Rising from the Sea that often, and I probably should have picked it up about a year ago, but I didn't. But it's finally here. To be honest, I think somebody bought this and then maybe sold it back to the same website, because I don't remember, I think this disappeared off the website for a wee while. But yeah, I was finally glad to pull the trigger on it. So, Exhumer, Rising from the Sea. So that is it. 20 minutes is not bad. I kind of raced through that, but I thought I wanted to get all that done in one video. So like I said, I'll hopefully be back soon with a couple of album rankings, a couple of bands that I want to do it on, but I just need that time to kind of go through the albums one by one and you know, do it properly like you should do. So look out for that. In the meantime, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what you think of my pickups, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.